In today's video, guys, we want to continue with the interview series. I've previously done a lot of videos on how to answer some of the commonly asked interview questions, and from your comments and some of the reactions that I receive, some of my viewers have actually asked me to answer more of these questions. So if you're here for the first time, my name is Nelly, and in this channel I share content on personal, professional and career growth, just to help you build a rewarding and fulfilling careers. And if you're a returning viewer, I'm happy to learn that this channel has added value to you, and thank you for coming back. So this is Careers with Nelly, and the question that I'm going to answer today, or the question that I'm going to help you answer in this video, is why did you leave your last job, or why do you want to leave your current job? So if this is something that you'll want to learn, or if this is a question that you struggled with in your previous interviews, then I know you want to watch this video till the end. So let's get into the video. So this question, I think I really don't know why most people find it difficult to answer, but from my thinking, or from my opinion, is that people really don't want to say the reason why they left a previous job, or why they would want to leave. And the reason being, sometimes when people mention these reasons, or when you mention the reason why you want to leave, for example, if the genuine reason why you want to leave your employer is because you're not having a good relationship with your boss. So sometimes people feel that when you mention this reason, it's bad-mouthing a current or a previous employer. And I know you guys, you always told that don't bad-mouth your employer. Yeah, don't bad-mouth your employer, or don't bad-mouth your previous colleagues. I mean, just bad-mouthing in an interview is not a good thing, because it makes you come out as a note, as a person whose people relations, or rather people skills, is questionable, and nobody will want to have that thought, or rather have an interviewer think about them in that line. So I know that is why people struggle to answer this question, because you're like, will I go to an interview and say that I'm having a bad relationship with my boss? Of course, I know you wouldn't want to say that, but at the end of the day, it's an interview question. It's a question that is used to assess, or rather to make a decision in the interview process, and you don't have an option but to answer it. So if you're asked this question, what do you need to consider? So in this video, I'm just going to share with you why an employer asked this question, some of the reasons, of course, that can make someone want to leave, and just how you can address this question. So why an employer, or rather why an interviewer would ask this question, it's just outright, why do you want to leave? I mean, they want to know the reason, because if you're leaving for the same reason, or for the same conditions that is in their current space, or if it is in the potential, I mean the prospect employer's work environment, then really, even if they give you the job, there will not be change. If you're leaving maybe for example because of a culture issue, you're having a bad relationship with your boss, and they know even the boss that you report to is a difficult one, then honestly, they will not really want to do the same mistake, because at the end of it all, you'll not be satisfied. If you're leaving because of a culture issue, and they know your organization, maybe they know the culture is the same. So the reason they really just want to understand is, will this new job be able to solve your current problems? If you're leaving because of pay, is another thing, because at the end of the day, a new job will likely come with an increase in the pay. That's a problem, or rather that is a scenario that they'll provide a solution to. So you get to understand. I really always emphasize on understanding why some interview questions are asked, because from where I sit, I believe that if you understand why, if you understand a reason behind a question, then it becomes very easy to navigate that question, rather than if you don't understand, you'll be like, so why do they ask me? What will that question help them with? Are they using this to assess me? And you can even begin to think that they're asking you questions that are irrelevant. So guys, that's one of the main reason why this question is asked. And another reason is also just to test, to understand what you want as a person and your career aspirations. So your career aspirations, if they ask you and you say, I've left my current job because I felt that currently where I am, there are no opportunities for me to grow, then they're like, okay, so this is somebody who wants a growth opportunity. Or I've left my current job because it's really not challenging me. I mean, I'm not being challenged at all. There's nothing new that I'm learning. There's nothing new that I'm doing, which is understandable, especially if you've been doing one job for quite long. So then that's easy, because they get to understand that you're somebody who's looking for a more challenging environment. And also another thing, they just want to pick the red lights. And you know, the red lights will be like, if you left your previous job, or if you want to leave your previous job because you're having an ongoing disciplinary case, or you left your previous job because you're terminated, you're dismissed because of maybe an incident that happened at work, that you're involved in at work. So if you say this, they're able to pick potential red lights that maybe are associated with your character. So as always, an employer also just want to be sure that they are hiring the right person for their company. So that's why they want to get to understand what was the reason, what are the triggers that made you leave your previous job. So how you answer this question also determines a lot on whether or not you'll be an employer will be able to tell, or the interviewer will be able to tell, that you'll be a potential fit for their job. So then when it comes to answering, how do you answer this question? One thing I always insist, and I still insist, is that please be truthful. Be truthful, be very honest. Because the common mistake that people make while answering this question is not saying the truth. And especially when you've been terminated, there's so many reasons that might have made you leave your job. So especially when you've been terminated, you'd been dismissed or released on a not so good terms in your previous jobs, then you begin saying that, no, I just left because I felt that there were no opportunities for me to grow. I just left because I'd done that job for more than 5 years, and of course there was nothing new that I was learning. And you forget that when you get this job, just before even you're given an offer, or before you're given a contract, this employer will conduct background checks on you, and they'll go back to your previous employer. And now they find out at the point of background checks that you're terminated, that you have an ongoing disciplinary, and you resigned at the onset of the disciplinary process. And at the end of it, at the end of the day, once such information gets into the ear of a potential employer, they now begin to question your integrity. Of course, your integrity is automatically compromised because you had lied. So that's why I insist, please be truthful. Say the truth. Even if you're just terminated, just say, this is what happened. And if you're guilty of the incident, whatever it is that happened, show remorse, and just be able to share the lessons that you've learned, and how you're going to get better going forward. And when you left your previous job because you felt that you did not have any opportunity for career advancement, maybe you'd tend to the point where a senior level, and just for you to grow, you could only grow into your boss's role. So that means for you to grow, you had to wait for your boss to leave that job, which maybe was not coming forth for you to be promoted to that role. So if you felt that you'd reached that level, it's a good reason. So you have to be sure you're giving such a reason if the role that you're interviewing for is higher than what you're previously doing. So for example, if you've been an accountant for 5 years, and you're to grow maybe into a senior accountant, or into account manager, a finance manager. So if you left because you're an accountant for 5 years, and you want to say that I'd been in that job for long and there are no opportunities for career advancement, you can't say that. It won't make sense if you're interviewing for the same role. Because really, then what will it... Sometimes I understand organizations are different, structures are different, but you will find that if you're an accountant, or an assistant accountant in your previous job, and you're interviewing for the same role, to be very honest, you'll more or less be doing the same things. It will not be a growth move for you. So at that point, then you need to understand, if I have to say this reason, then it has to align with the current opportunity that I'm interviewing for. And if you'd left your previous job, maybe because you stepped out to take care of a sick person, you wanted to be a stay-at-home mom just to take care of your family, it's just good to say the truth. And that is not a bad reason to leave a job, as opposed to what most people think about, that if you step out of employment to maybe take care of a sick person, or become a stay-at-home mom and take care of your family, then it begins to question your maybe your ability to juggle many things in life or something like that. I think people have different priorities, and if that is what was your priority at that point, to step aside and take care of your baby, it's perfectly okay. So I think what I want to emphasize in this video is the aspect of being very truthful, and of course sharing reasons that show that you felt that the reason you stepped out of that employment was going to add more value to you. And coming to another reason that also many people don't want to say, because they feel I'll be bad-mouthing my former boss, I'll be bad-mouthing the company, is especially if the culture was toxic. Of course, I know you can't just be asked, okay, so now why did you leave your previous job? You know, it was a very toxic culture. It was maybe draining me mentally. Well, I understand, and if it could be that is what it was actually doing, which I know happens, but I think the best way the best way to put it is just to mention that you felt that it had gotten to a point where the culture or the values were not aligning with your values. And I think also it is okay to continue. Maybe if you're asked, maybe what were the values and what are your personal values, it's just good to mention what they were. And if you felt that the values were putting you in a point where you're compromising, maybe you're in a job where you're being forced to take bribes, and from where you sit, you're not a person who takes bribes. You're in a job where you're being forced to manipulate reports. Maybe if you're doing maybe like a reporting job, the company financials, you're being forced to manipulate. So of course it reflects the position that the company wants to portray to the public, and from where you sit, it's not something you wanted to do. It's okay to stand strong, or rather it's okay to stand firm and say, this is what I believed in. And from where I sit, I don't think that is something that will make a recruiter say that you're bad-mouthing your employer. So it's okay to say the truth, but it's okay to also, it is wise to maintain, even as you say the truth, you apply wisdom. You can't just, maybe just say, you know, that place was extremely toxic, my boss kept on telling me to manipulate those reports, my boss, just say the values were not aligning, and you felt, even though the company or the employer felt that this is how they wanted you to present the reports, but you also believe there are standard guidelines. Each and every industry has, even for reporting, has standard guidelines, and for reporting, even in line with the governance process. So if you felt that this is something that was compromising what you believe in, it is perfectly okay to say it, and say it firmly but humbly. So don't feel that when you go and say you left your job because of this and this, then it means you're bad-mouthing your boss, or you're bad-mouthing your former employer. And if you had a bad relationship with your boss, it's also okay to say the truth, especially if there's, I think one thing I've seen, especially for people who left employment because they had a bad relationship with their boss, one thing I've really seen work is having evidence, because you could also be accusing your boss, especially if you had evidence of your previous strained communications and so on and so forth. It is okay to just justify using that maybe it had gotten to a point where you felt the relationship was really not aligned to your work ethics, and you could really not under those circumstances, you're not able to collaborate and work well together. But you also need to say, what was your contribution? You say a relationship can be bad. It can be bad in that it is you who's causing the problem. Let me give you an example. I listened to a story, or my friend was telling me a story of an employee where the employee if corrected, you see, like you can come to work late and your boss just tells you, you know, you've arrived late, please correct this. Employee is somebody that she can't actually tell her, point out a mistake, even if the employee does a mistake. If the mistake is pointed out, then this employee goes mute. Like she comes to work and she does not talk to the boss. You don't talk to your boss. You come to work every day and you're not talking to your boss for even a whole month, just because the boss told her, you know what, you need to correct the errors in your report. Please stop submitting reports with errors. Just ensure you go through them. Please stop coming to work late. Please, just because the boss told them they're coming to work late. So they go quiet, they come to the office, they don't greet anyone, they don't greet even their colleagues. When they take documents maybe for sign off, they'll just throw them off to their boss and all that. So if you're that type of person, then it is obvious that the relationship is not working, because you have not understood your part as a person in that office. So you also need to, even if it is a bad relationship with your boss, you also need to say the truth, or be truthful with yourself and say, then, what did I contribute into this bad relationship? Maybe it is you who is not doing your work well. Maybe it is you submitting reports with errors, not observing deadline, not submitting work within the agreed deadlines. So you need to understand that if it is a bad relationship, you need to say, what is it that you did? How did you try? You see, if it is about issues of communication, you tried communicating well, but things did not work. So I always believe that if you maintain professionalism, and as always, please remember to maintain professionalism, even if the situations were really not working well, remember to maintain professionalism, be very truthful, and explain using a lot of examples, examples or even evidence if you have them. So yeah, so I hope this video has helped someone. If you're wondering how you're going to answer this question in an interview, please don't ever feel that it makes you feel like you're bad-mouthing your employer. Saying the truth is good, but applying wisdom and remaining very humble as you say that truth is what makes the difference. So thank you for watching. I hope this video has made sense to you. As always, if you've not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and put on the notification so that you're notified whenever I put a new video. So till next time, thank you for watching.